Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy, and it is time for Keeping It Real, June 8th. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Ballots, absentee ballots that were found in a storage locker, almost 300 of them from the 2020 election in a Michigan storage locker. What's going on with that? Also, the Canadian wildfires, the media is trying to make it seem like climate change is the main reason because of this, and you need to vote Democrat because of this. Well, I'm going to dig into that coming up as well and show you how the media is not really telling you what's happening. And I'm going to tell you exactly what is going on in the truth behind what you need to know. All of that coming up on Keeping It Real tonight. It's June 8th. Thank you everyone for joining us. Please share this video out. There should be a share button right here somewhere. Also, if you are not a paid supporter, if you are not a paid subscriber, you need to sign up to be a paid supporter in order to watch this whole show. It's only $5 a month. You can cancel whenever you want, but you will only be able to watch the remainder of the show if you are a paid supporter. So thank you everyone for joining us. Let's get to it. Thank you, Aline. How are you doing? At the bottom right-hand corner, there should be a little share button. If there's anyone out there right now who can help out Aline is one of our viewers. She's commenting in the chat. If you can help her out and let her know where the share button is, let her know. I would really appreciate that. So for all of you, have you seen or smelled the wildfire smoke from Canada? You may have seen it or you may have smelled it out there. I'm in Michigan and I saw it the other day and I smelled it the other day. So what's going on? Well, the media is trying to make you think one thing. They're trying to hype it up. They're trying to get ratings. They're trying to get clicks about this. So here's what the media is doing. Just a short glance. Take a look at this.
New flare-ups in Nova Scotia.
We're literally in a battle for our lives and for our properties.
Well, the reality is, unfortunately, over the past years, we've seen extreme weather events increase in their intensity and their impact on Canadians, as well as on their costs.
Disaster created by below average rainfall, high winds, and today temperatures near 74 degrees, exacerbated by climate change.
Climate change? Who said that? Why is that a thing? Well, that's not really the case. Many of these fires have been caused by arson. People are setting these fires. Not all of them, but many of them have been set by a human being. That would not be climate change. I do work, I don't know if you know this, but I do work for the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, and they made a video explaining how forest fires really happen and how they spread and how they can be stopped. I want all of you to watch this video. It's about 6 minutes, but it's really educational. If you have any children around the house right now, bring them over to the computer or the TV. And I want you to watch this right here. Let's take a look at this video because this is what the media needs to be showing you.
Hello there. It's not that often we see people this far into the forest. Welcome. I'm glad you're here, because the other trees and I were just talking about a big issue for us. We think we've found a way to deal with one of the nation's biggest problems, and we've got broad agreement that it works. But I've gotten ahead of myself. The name's Timber, but you can call me Tim. I'm the head tree in these parts, and I speak for the forests. America has a lot of forests on public lands that are in big trouble. They are overgrown, diseased, and infested with nasty pests and bugs. And because of this, they are plagued by wildfires. Speaking as a tree, that's not a pretty picture. But like I said, there is some good news. I'll get to that in a moment. But first, a little more on the problem. For decades, well-meaning government managers and the Forest Service had a policy to stop or suppress any and all fires immediately. Just about everyone thought that made sense because everyone believed that fire and forests were enemies. But those good intentions backfired because small, low-intensity fires are actually good for forests. Oh, I see the look on your faces. But don't worry, that little fire won't hurt me. I have thick bark that protects me from the heat, and some of my friends actually need fire to release their seeds. When a low-intensity fire burns through a forest, it clears out older, sick trees, many of which are infested with bugs like bark beetles. The fire cleans up the forest floor by removing smaller trees, as well as old leaves, needles, and branches that naturally build up on the ground, something foresters call fuel loading. When fuel loads get too heavy, a lightning strike, an unwatched campfire, or any other source of fire can lead to disaster. In fact, when a dense, overgrown, and dry forest burns, the fire can actually climb from the forest floor all the way into the tops or crowns of the trees. Anything that can't escape a crown fire faces almost certain death. Even the tiny organisms in the topsoil, worms, insects, even bacteria, are consumed, and it can take decades for the soil to fully recover. That's bad for all the trees and animals that live here. But it's also bad for you humans too, because you breathe the air we produce when we photosynthesize. You drink the water that filters through our roots and soil. When forests burn, you breathe the smoke, and fire can damage your homes and cities. In spite of all that, I'm still very optimistic about forest health. That's because of ideas like collaborative management, which are gaining popularity today. Collaborative management gets groups together that have a stake in the management of the forest. These stakeholders work together to plan out the best forest management solutions. Typically, stakeholders include the U.S. Forest Service, state forest agencies, private landowners, resource developers, environmental groups, native groups, hunters and fishers, and people who enjoy using forests for other outdoor recreation. These stakeholders recognize that the U.S. Forest Service is overburdened with responsibilities and doesn't have the time or funding to manage all of America's public lands. So they are working together to fix that problem, using laws like the Good Neighbor Authority and the USDA's Shared Stewardship Program. These programs enlist the aid of state forest agencies and private contractors to get vital forest restoration work like spacing and thinning completed. Of course, federal foresters play an essential role in overseeing the process. They identify the areas that need the most help and work with state agencies to draft a plan for clearing out the suffocating underbrush and diseased and dead, densely packed trees. Sometimes they also choose to take a few healthy trees to ensure the forest has room to breathe and grow, or to help pay for the work being done. The plan may also call for creating additional roads so all the biomass can be removed and so that all stakeholders have access to the forest in the future. You may be wondering why they don't just go straight to smaller, controlled burns to clear out the brush and dead trees right away. Unfortunately, that's not practical in many situations. Most of our forests are so overgrown that controlled burns are just too dangerous. As we've seen in many western states like California and Oregon, we've got a lot of work to do. And we need to get the work done as soon as possible because Mother Nature isn't going to wait on us. If stakeholders don't accept and embrace the responsibility of restoring and managing publicly owned forests, we will continue to have more and more devastating wildfires. But again, the good news is that we know how to fix the problem. We can significantly reduce the threat of destruction and loss of life. If we embrace forest restoration activities and collaborative management techniques,
Okay, so you just saw that video right there. That's what's going on in the media. The media tries to make it seem as if it's, climate change. That's the reason behind these fires, and that's not completely true. The media is lying to you. So that's one reason why I quit mainstream media, because I'm just fed up with it. So I urge all of you to ask your friends to help join us on Locals. We have some breaking news just coming in, and this is coming from Donald Trump. Former President Donald Trump has announced that his attorneys have been informed that he has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Trump has been indicted. He has been told to appear at a federal court next Tuesday at 3 p.m. This breaking news just coming down literally minutes ago. Donald Trump announcing he has been indicted by a federal grand jury, and he is being asked to appear at federal court next Tuesday at 3 p.m. They're not saying exactly why he was indicted. We're believing this had to do with the January 6th and the election, possibly. This is not a state. This did not happen with a state. This is a federal issue. So former President Trump, it looks like, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. That just happening just a short time ago. So I'm not sure what charges. One of the charges they were considering was espionage, which could be the death penalty at one point. That is one of the results of that charge. I'm trying to look right now to see if we have more information, and we don't. But that is just coming in just a short time ago. Donald Trump saying that he has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Wow. Okay. That breaking just now as we are on the air. So I'm going to make some videos on that later, but we're going to continue with the show right now. So speaking of election malfeasance in Michigan, there is a story coming out of Michigan in Genesee County, Michigan. There were more than 300 ballots, absentee ballots, found in a storage locker. Now, most of these ballots, I'm being told, were not voted on, but they were supposed to be mailed out to people, and they weren't. So what's going on? We were told the 2020 election was the safest ever, and now we're hearing things like this. So let me play for you. There's a woman who was running to be a clerk in this town. She only lost by 19 votes. This woman only lost by 19 votes. So I'm going to go ahead and play this interview with you that I had with her. Take a listen to this. And I'm here with Katie Hicks. She was in the story that I showed you earlier, and she is a resident of Thetford Township. And a lot going on. Earlier this week, we learned, first from Mid-Michigan Now, where I used to work, some good reporting by Courtney Bennett, that there was a more than a handful, but almost 300 ballots from the 2020 election found in was it a storage facility?
Yep, in a storage unit up in Clio.
How did it first come to light? Was it the FOIA, or how did anyone know that something was going on?
One of the workers up there finally had come to the supervisor and said that she had seen some ballots of some sort in a room up at the township hall. And then next thing they know, they were gone. And so then finally, the former deputy clerk came forward and said that she had been holding some stuff in a storage unit for the current clerk, and she was unaware of what was in it. And so she asked Rachel if Rachel wanted to come up and get them. And that's when Rachel discovered it and called the Michigan State Police.
So are they trying to allege it was just someone made a mistake, maybe? Or is that what I'm getting out of that, maybe?
From the beginning, it was really messed up, Dave. I knew something was kind of off. I was kind of worried by the 19 vote deal, so I wanted to do a recount right away.
Let's explain that again to everyone who may not know. You were running for township clerk?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And this is 2020 we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay. So you lost by only 19 votes.
Correct.
Okay. So there's 300, almost 300 ballots that have been, that have been found. And these, we believe, have not been counted.
Right.
So you could have been, you should be maybe possibly clerk net right now.
Yeah. Possibly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry I interrupted you, but some people may not have seen the previous story.
No, you're okay. You're fine.
Okay.
So I went and called the county and I asked if I could get a recount done. And they told me that I would have to submit some paper and pay a fee. And I was willing to do that. So they scheduled me an appointment. And the day of my appointment, when I was getting ready, they called me and told me that they accidentally scheduled me a day late for the recount. And I didn't meet the date, and there was no longer any choice for me to do that.
Because they
messed
scheduled
up.
you the wrong date.
Yeah. So then, I went back and forth several times with the state myself, and the state was aware of these ballots being somewhere where they're not supposed to be. They didn't know, but they did an audit. So they were aware of all these missing ballots, but nothing was ever done. It just got shoved under the rug. Well, then finally.
Hold on a minute. You're saying that Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State, they knew that there was almost 300 ballots that were not cast, or that were cast but not counted.
Oh yeah, they personally told me that there was something funny with it because they were noticing that the ballot count was off. But then they never did nothing. And like I said, the county kind of pushed me away. They told me I was too late when they're the ones that scheduled the appointment. And then the state kind of told me things, several other people, that I have, been communicating with through this. They called the state and were told the same thing. Funny things were wrong, but never furthered it. They just let it go.
You may have been called a conspiracy theorist by some people then, probably.
Yeah.
So how did it get to the point? Was it how do we get to know that it's real? Like they had that meeting last night. How did we get to that point?
I think the supervisor just wanted to come out with there's a lot of people that aren't involved.
Is she new?
No, she was a trustee for 4 years before she became supervisor in 2020.
Okay, so she stood up and basically she filed a FOIA, Freedom of Information.
She did.
With who? The state police?
I believe so.
Okay, and they granted it. And
yes.
it says in that document that what does it say, we believe?
That there's 289 missing absentee ballots that were found in a storage unit.
Wow, I'm just shaking my head. It's just, it's just hard. So was that kind of not vindication, but for you that, it's real.
Yeah, it's real. And I always have a suspicion. I struggled through the whole campaign myself. I literally personally went door to door. I worked really hard for that campaign. And no longer would I leave a home and I'd drive back by a little while later and the sign would be missing. And then people would come and tell me, they're stealing the signs out of the yard. And I'm like, are you serious now? The whole thing was a fight. I lost before I even started.
Was this 2020, this is a ballot that does it have everything on it? The president, the senator, it has the whole, everything.
Yeah, it was the general election. Yes.
So it had Trump, Biden.
Yes, it was our presidential election.
So I don't want you to guess, but was someone out to get you, or was it personal? You don't know.
I've always been involved somewhat with the township. I may have not seen eye to eye with everybody that, their opinions, but no, I personally don't even know Nicole Moore. I just took it upon myself to decide to run, and I struggled from day one running with her. I knew there was going to be problems.
Who is she, the current? Or
she is the current clerk.
And she ran for she was reelected.
Yep.
Okay. But how sad is that if you may have won that election for that position may not have been real. I mean, it might be fraud.
Yeah, I basically lost 4 years wages. I could have been sitting up there. That could have been my job. Yeah.
Is there anything, lawyers cost money, but is there anything you can do?
I'm planning on furthering this. I'm just kind of trying to let it all come out, and see what they find in the investigation and Yeah, I plan on retaining an attorney and
The thing
seeing what I can do.
a lot of people online are asking, where we don't know the process of how, when people voted, how did all those ballots get from the voting, machine to a room in the process? That
Because
we
the
don't know.
ballots that were found were all absentee ballots.
Okay, they were all absentees, so those go to wherever they centrally count them.
Correct. Like when you're voting with absentee ballot, you have to go up to the township when you're done with that ballot and turn it into the current clerk that is running.
Okay, and so
Yeah.
somehow they got moved from there to a random storage facility in Clio.
She never mailed them to people's homes and they never came and voted. So some of those ballots may not even be voted on. People may have not even had the opportunity to vote.
Okay, so to be fair, and I don't want to blame anyone, or because no one's been convicted or charged with anything, so some of those ballots may just be empty.
Correct.
Okay, we should know.
Right. And the issue with that is, like, say you were issued an absentee ballot and then you decided you didn't want to use that absentee ballot no more and you wanted to go up and vote in person. You have to cancel that absentee ballot out. So you have to spoil it, or otherwise neither vote is going to count. So some of those people that never received that didn't spoil that, went up and voted, and then their vote never even got counted.
Yeah, that's election law, I believe.
Yeah.
So will we know? I mean, it's an investigation. Hopefully at some point we'll know the truth.
I'm hoping so. I know that I have heard that she has gotten an attorney, and I know that the prosecuting attorney has picked it up. So
Yeah. And like I said, no one's been charged. No one's, I don't want to name anyone or anything because no one's been charged, right?
right.
Okay. The worry is, if it wouldn't have been for the supervisor in this FOIA, would we ever have known?
I don't know. I tried very hard for a long time to, figure out what was going on with these when I was going back and forth with the state myself, and I was getting nowhere. And so, I knew she was going to continue and further impress this to get the truth out. I knew this was coming.
And that's good. So
Yeah.
you lost by 19 votes for the clerk, and now we're almost, more than 2 years later, finding that this is a real thing, and
Yeah.
you were probably called a conspiracy theorist by people.
Yeah. And that's where I beat her at in the election. I beat her on the absentee ballots. So like when the counts were coming in, they were, low, and I'm like, okay, I might have not got, I didn't get this. And then all of a sudden, all these votes came in, and all of those votes were pretty much by absentee ballot. So that's what even frightens me more, with the 289 that never even got mailed out.
Yeah, but it's also unfair, no matter who did this, for the President Biden, Donald Trump, representatives, state representatives. It hurts everyone.
Yeah, it does. It did. And it frightens me for the 2024 election. It's a presidential election. And if we had fraud going on in 2020, what makes you think that it ain't going to happen again,
And you hear from the Secretary of State and the governor and everyone, it's the safest election we've ever seen. But
Yeah.
hearing this, just it's concerning.
Yeah.
And a lot of people online were like, okay, and then your mind always wonders, if this could happen in Thetford, could something like this happen in X county, anywhere?
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure that it probably did.
Damn. Okay. Well, I think it's just people are just, and some people are going, oh, this means that, Trump won or whatever. But I think it opens up to the fact that fraud, it does exist. It does. It's real. Even if this was a complete 100% mistake, it's still a bad election because the rules weren't carried out.
Right.
Wow. What reaction are you getting from friends or family? Are they like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." They're like,
A lot of them aren't surprised. Like, yeah, we were all under suspicion for the longest time. I'm actually just really happy that it's gone, coming out, and I hope something's done about it.
what does it show for you personally? And my dad always told me this. He passed away a while ago, but stick to your beliefs. Even though people are against you or people may say you're crazy, but
Right.
is that important?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's wrong what has taken place, and I wish more people would get involved in our township. Um, And I almost feel like, if you're under an investigation for something like that, you shouldn't even be in there right now holding office as a clerk. You should be, you know, I know you haven't been proven guilty, but um, you're under investigation for election fraud. I hope they actually consider having someone step in and run the 2024 election if she's still there.
That's what I was about to ask you. And should I would have hoped today I was expecting the state someone to come and like do a news conference and clear the air. I would like to see that. I mean,
Right.
isn't that something? I know state police can't say a lot, but leaving this out there hanging, the questions are just going to continue. So it would, I don't work at the TV station anymore. I'm still a journalist, but I think it would be nice if they would have a news conference and take questions about it.
Right. They should. They
Because
should, absolutely.
right now the people in Thetford probably don't trust anything.
Right. I know. I know. It's terrible. It really is. It's sad that you can't even trust your vote to, you know, it, it's
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, okay, but not a surprise to you. Not a surprise.
But no, not a surprise. Like I said, I right away, like, reacted and wanted to do a recount. And when the county kind of did that with me with the scheduling of the appointment, I knew right then, like, something, was funny. And then I even went down there. I still submitted paperwork and I still paid the money, and I got
Wow.
denied the
You get your
letter back
you
in the
you get
mail.
you get your money back?
Um, no, I did not.
Oh, but you
No, I did not.
oh, okay. So the supervisor is somewhat of a I don't know, a hero or someone who did the right thing?
Yeah, I'm glad she stuck to her guns and kept going. There was a lot of people that wanted to slam her and say, she's just here causing trouble and wanting to do drama and make up lies.
Yep.
And no, like, she stuck to her guns and found, finding the truth out. And the people that are all calling her liars are turning out to be the liars. So, yeah, it all catches up to you in the end. So
I haven't talked to her. I don't know if you've talked to her about it. Why'd she finally do the FOIA? Was she just getting frustrated? She just wanted to get it out there?
she's got hundreds of emails, probably between Jocelyn Benson and several other people,
And she just wanted it to
going back and forth.
she wanted it to just to let people
She
know.
did. She wanted something done about it.
So she probably, I'm assuming, got frustrated and be like, okay, I'm filing a FOIA. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Your last message, or I'll ask you, this shouldn't stop people from voting, right?
No, we need to vote. We just need to know that our votes are secure. So I feel like, the more people that start getting involved in this, and concerned about it, maybe we can have the state step in and have somebody run our election that isn't her.
Well, and keep an eye on things, at least for 2024. But even across the state, it'd be good if random people just got more involved.
Right. Right.
Wow.
When I went in there last night for the special meeting, there was probably 20 people in there, and that's it.
How many people live in? It's not a big township. Are there a couple thousand?
4,000.
4,000 people. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. When I saw that, I was just shocked because that's something you heard from people who, if I would have put this on Twitter a year and a half ago, I would have been banned from the website
I'm sure.
for putting
I'm
this up.
sure. And when I come out with it and would talk to people about it, they looked at me like I was just a sore loser. And I'm like, no, I can lose. That's totally fine. That's not the problem. But when I suspect this is going on, and I go to the state and they tell me that the ballot counts aren't matching up and all these things aren't right, and then they never pursued it. They never did nothing.
How quick did they tell you that? Did they know right away?
They they did. They did know right away, and so, even that, and that's now it's all coming to me. Like, I think that's why the county conveniently scheduled me a day late for my recount.
Does the county, because I know the county clerk, they had major issues. Did they have any role in it? I wonder, the county, are they?
Well, that's where it starts. The
Well,
board of
yeah.
canvassers down there, that's who's going over all of them ballots when they get down there.
Well, and they were a complete mess anyway. I mean, their clerk is gone
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So,
What a
okay, but
mess.
the last message is don't give up on the system. Don't a lot of people might say to hell with it, just I'm not voting ever again. Don't do that.
No, we need to vote. Our world's already messy right now. We need to continue to be, voting.
Wow, there we go. Well, you heard that story, but I want to get to the breaking news that everyone is talking about. And that's Genesee County. I'm going to keep my eye on that, but let's talk about the news that is breaking right now. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted by a federal grand jury. You're taking a look at his tweet that he put out there, or his Truth Social that he put out there. He is saying that he has been indicted by a federal grand jury, and we don't know exactly what charges he is facing. He is supposed to appear at a federal court next Tuesday in Washington, D.C. You're taking a look at his statements right there on the screen. That's what the former president is saying. And wow, this coming out breaking just during our show. So I am going to jump over. I hope all of you don't mind. I'm going to go live on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. I'm going to try to let everyone know about this. Because they need to know what is happening. This is the man who is the number one candidate right now for president for the Republican Party, and he has just been indicted by a federal grand jury. Breaking news happening during our show. So I'm going to let you go, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you can sign up and tell all of your friends about this, because I need more paid supporters to keep this going. So thank you very much, everyone. And wow, just stick with me. It's going to be a wild ride.